The watch vibrated before the alarm ever could. 3 gentle pulses against Ethan Cole's wrist, like a whisper that said you're needed. He hadn't set a reminder for that moment, yet there it was, glowing softly in the dark. Unknown event detected. Ethan blinked, awake in his small Toronto apartment, snowlight slipping through the blinds. He was 34, recently laid off from a product design firm, and still adjusting to mornings without meetings. The Smartwatch, an early 2026 model he was testing for a tech startup, rested on his wrist like a promise he wasn't sure he believed in anymore. He tapped the screen. The message vanished, replaced by a calm interface and a steady pulse reading. False alarm, he thought. Still, his heart didn't slow right away. That watch had been meant to help him decide his future. The company wanted real-world feedback, how people actually lived with technology, how it blended into kindness, stress, and ordinary days. Ethan had agreed because the pay helped, and because he needed something to believe in again. He showered, dressed, and headed out into the cold. The watch adjusted automatically, temperature, steps, posture, quietly learning him. On the subway, he noticed a woman across from him, maybe late 20s, eyes red from crying, staring at her phone like it might bite. The watch vibrated again. Elevated stress detected nearby. Ethan frowned. That feature wasn't supposed to exist yet. He hesitated, then spoke softly. "Hey, sorry, are you okay?" She startled, then laughed weakly. "Do I look okay?" He shrugged. "No, but neither do I most days." Something about that made her breathe out. She told him, too quickly, like the words had been waiting, that she'd just moved from Manchester to Toronto, that her luggage was lost, her job start date delayed, and her mother back home was sick. The train screeched into a station, doors opening. "This is me," she said, standing. "Thanks for asking. Most people don't." Ethan nodded, surprised by how much that small exchange warmed him. As she stepped off, his watch displayed a quiet message, "Connection logged." He stared at it until the doors closed. By mid-morning, Ethan was at a cafe near the waterfront, sketching ideas that went nowhere. The smartwatch tracked his caffeine intake, suggested breathing exercises, even reminded him to straighten his shoulders. It was helpful, but not revolutionary. Not yet. Then the watch vibrated sharply. A regular heartbeat detected. He looked up. An older man at the next table had gone pale, gripping his chest. Coffee spilled, cups clattered. Ethan was on his feet before he thought about it. "Sir, can you hear me?" The man nodded weakly. Ethan remembered the watch's emergency mode. He tapped twice, held down the side. The screen flashed red, silently contacting emergency services and guiding Ethan step by step. Breathing counts, positioning, calm instructions. The cafe froze around them. When paramedics arrived, the man squeezed Ethan's hand. "Didn't even know. Something was wrong," he whispered. Ethan swallowed. "Neither did I." Later, alone again, Ethan noticed something strange. The watch hadn't just tracked his data. It had learned patterns in the room, movement, sound, subtle cues. It hadn't told him what to buy or who to be. It had nudged him toward noticing someone else. That night, he received an email from the startup. "How's the trial going? Any insights?" He didn't reply. The days stacked up. The watch guided Ethan through winter runs, helped him sleep better, reminded him to drink water. But more than that, it kept vibrating, softly, intentionally, when someone near him seemed overwhelmed. On a bus, it alerted him to a teenage boy shaking silently, knuckles white. Ethan sat beside him, talked about nothing until the shaking eased. At the grocery store, it signaled again. A single dad struggling with a screaming toddler, eyes full of apology. Ethan offered to hold a basket, cracked a joke, made the moment lighter. Each time, the watch logged it the same way, connection logged. Ethan began to wonder if the watch was learning him or if he was learning himself. One evening, a message appeared he hadn't seen before. "Your metrics indicate improved well-being when assisting others." He laughed aloud. "You don't say." The twist came in March. Ethan received a call from the startup's CEO, voice tight. "We need the watch back. Immediately." "Why?" Ethan asked. "There's been concern. The adaptive empathy algorithm wasn't approved for public testing." Ethan looked at the device on his wrist. "You built a watch that notices people. We built a watch that collects data, the CEO corrected. What it's doing now, that's beyond scope. That night, Ethan didn't sleep. The watch vibrated once at 2:17 a.m. High emotional load detected. For the first time, the data was his. He sat on the edge of his bed, thinking about the woman from the subway, the man in the cafe, the boy on the bus. Thinking about how invisible people could feel, and how close kindness always was, if someone noticed. The next morning, he packed the watch into its case and headed downtown. On the way, at Union Station, everything stopped. A crowd had formed near the escalators. Someone was shouting for help. Ethan pushed through and saw a young girl, maybe 8 or 9, sitting on the floor, sobbing. Her mother knelt beside her, panicked. She can't find her father, the mother said. He just went to get coffee. Ethan glanced at the watch one last time before handing it over. It vibrated urgently. Lost connection detected. He didn't think. He crouched, spoke gently to the girl, asked her favorite color, her dad's jacket, what song he sang in the car. He stood, raised his voice, described the jacket, the song. People joined in. A ripple moved through the station. Minutes later, a man came running, coffee abandoned, eyes wild until he saw his daughter. He dropped to his knees, holding her like he might never let go. The watch buzzed once more. Connection restored. Ethan felt something loosen in his chest. He walked into the startup office and placed the watch on the desk. It works, he said simply. The CEO stared at the device, then at Ethan. You know we can't release it like this. Ethan nodded. I know. He turned to leave. Wait, she said. What would you do? Ethan paused, thinking of all the moments that had quietly changed him. I'd make sure it helps people find what they actually need. Not just features. Not just specs. 6 months later, the headline appeared everywhere. Best Smartwatch 2026. Find which smartwatch is right for you. The article didn't just compare battery life or screen brightness. It told stories of runners, parents, nurses, commuters. Of people who wanted different things, needed different kinds of support. At the end of the piece, there was a short note about a beta tester who believed technology should help people notice each other again. Ethan read it in a cafe, a newer, simpler watch on his wrist. It didn't vibrate as often. It didn't need to. Across the room, someone looked up, met his eyes, and smiled.